Greetings, listeners. My name is Temka, and this is my podcast, Deep Dive. In this podcast, I try to talk about different topics and my experiences with them. So far, I've discussed some interesting stuff. I don't even remember what my previous podcasts were about. I think you can go check it out. I've labeled them and given them names. Uh, um, this is also a platform I'm using to improve my English speaking skills because I feel like it's somehow gotten worse after I moved to Thailand, and I just want to practice. Honestly, I haven't really been talking to a lot of people that much, except for my students. I teach English here. I haven't been doing a lot of socializing, so this is just one way for me to, I guess, how can I say this? This is just one way for me to express my thoughts. I don't really feel the need to share them with other people right now. Perhaps in the future, I'll be like, okay, maybe I need to socialize a bit more. But until then, I'm okay with just sitting at home, working, playing games, interacting with my friends from Mongolia, um, just stuff like that. Watching Dexter, that's something I've recently been super involved in. So I watched it until like 6 a.m. last night, and then I woke up at 10. So my sleep schedule is kind of fucked, but okay, whatever. Let's get started. Today's topic is the soul. Okay. What I mean by the soul, I don't know. I'm not a spiritualist guy or whatever. I'm not religious, but I feel like there's an energy to us, and that is kind of what I mean by the soul, right? There's an energy to us that affects us, and it also affects other people around us. So I think we all know about vibes, right? So when you first meet someone and the vibe is there, they pass the vibe check. You're like, okay, this person great. This person is great. I can be friends with this person. I can hang out with this person. I can tolerate this person or whatever. So I would say that the vibe is kind of a reflection of the soul, and that's how you would um, sort of see other people. I think some people's souls are definitely shining much brighter compared to some people. Um, yeah, I've certainly met I've certainly met a couple of people who I was just like, okay, let's just steer away from this person because I don't like his vibe. I don't like being next to this person, right? So yeah. Usually, how my podcast goes is I have a few questions. I discuss those questions, and then I give you guys a few quotes that I like. In my previous episodes, I just mainly focused on quotes that were like randomly picked off. But I think this episode deserves a little bit of attention because my last one wasn't so great. I think that's just personal feedback to myself. So let's get started. The first question is: in what ways can being kind to others nourish your soul? Now, um, I think there are several ways, but the best way I can answer this question is with an example. So, I'm an English teacher, and as a teacher, I think it's important for me to be professional in my job, but also, um, I'm an authority in their little world called the classroom, um, and this authority comes in many different forms. I'd say, because I can sometimes be an authority like the police or the government or the law. So I can be like, okay, no doing this, no doing that. Stop playing on your phones. Stop chewing gum. Shut up. Talk to each other. Do this, do that, whatever, right? Or I can be an authority in the form of a parent or an older brother or an older sister or someone that the students admire and see as a role model. And in those scenarios, it's very important for me to be kind because I know that whatever whatever personality I have, the students are really good at emulating that and just imitating it to each other. I don't know anything about what happens after they leave the classroom, but in the classroom, the teacher dictates how everyone should behave and how everyone should talk to each other. If the teacher is funny and the teacher is nice, then you can expect that the students will also be nice. But yeah, so when I first came to Thailand, so no, when I no, the first few days I was in Thailand this year, because I've been to Thailand many times before. I was working, um, and one of the students was being kind of annoying. So I was just like, all right, shut up, be quiet. Well, I didn't say shut up, but I was kind of mean. I could tell that my energy from inside was being, it was kind of negative. There was a little bit of anger behind the words, but I didn't want to show it. But obviously, the student felt the vibe, let's say. So I received a complaint, and that was a horrible moment because it was my second day at work, and then everyone started messaging me. They were like, "Hey, what happened? Why are you getting a complaint? I just heard from a student, blah blah blah." So this is like my supervisors and actually they were just my supervisors. One of the students came up to me and she was like, "Okay, I think it's important that I tell you this because the students, everyone in the class, we discussed with each other and said that you were being kind of disrespectful towards us and you were being kind of mean and we don't appreciate it, and we would rather be in an environment where everyone's supportive and everyone's nice and we're having fun and giggling and laughing, because that's what the other teacher did." And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are doing this and it's important that I push you, but I didn't say it. So I was just like, okay, thank you for your feedback, because she was the only person that approached me, right? And I didn't want to shut her down. But at first I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, why am I receiving a complaint? The student was being really annoying in the classroom, so I was just trying to like put her in her place, or so even when I say that right now, it's coming from a place of negativity and it's coming from a place of malice, let's say, because I'm trying to shut her down with my authority, right? I'm trying to be the police, I'm trying to be the government, the law, and I'm saying, no, don't do that. Whereas I could have set a better example by being a leader and just said like, hey, come on, let's all do this and do that, set the boundaries for everyone, be a little bit more discreet. And that's when I realized, oh my God, like I came in here to this classroom and I came to Thailand with the same energy that I carried around while I was in Mongolia. So I realized, oh fuck, like I'm actually like in a very bad mental state. I'm not saying like I'm depressed or anything, because that's definitely not where I am right now. But I was just super negative all the time. I remember when I was back in Mongolia, I'd be driving around and just this wave of negativity would always wash over me every single time something happened on the road, and it was just terrible road rage. And I think there were moments where I was just like, I want to fucking beat the shit out of this guy. Whether I was capable of doing that, I don't know. But I was just so tensed, right? I really wanted to hurt people, and my opinion of people, of random strangers, it was just crazy. I would look at someone and be like, look at this fucking idiot, right? Just out of nowhere, I would look at someone and be like, fuck this guy, or fuck that girl, right? Just like, I hate people for no reason. And I mean, the reasons are simple, they're like, oh, this person was queuing and then that person cut him off, so that guy's a fucking retard, or whatever, just all this hatred just seeping out of me every single moment of every single day, and it was terrible. So I realized that I came to Thailand with the same mindset and the same emotional or mental state, or whatever you want to call it. And then that sort of projected outwards to my students, and they saw it firsthand. That was literally the second day of me working, and they were just like, okay, we don't want to work with this teacher, because the vibe here in Thailand is a little bit different compared to Mongolia. There's still traffic, yes, there's still slow people, there's still difficult people to deal with, but there's a phrase, and it's in Thailand, it's not like a saying or a proverb or anything, but it's sabai sabai, and it means like relax, just take it easy. And I think I've confirmed this with a bunch of Thai people, and they were saying, yeah, it's true. People are sabai here. They're very relaxed and they like to take it easy. Even if someone like cuts you off in the road and you're like inches away from a fucking like accident that could kill you, people just bow and then they go. Because in Mongolia, if that happened, I would be like, you fucking, what are you doing, you idiot? You almost killed me. Watch where you're going. Da 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 da. You know, like I would try to tell them what I'm thinking. I would try to let them know that I was pissed and what they did was wrong. Right? It's important for me to do that. But here, it's just super like sabai, as I was saying. Right? They just say, okay, you know, you made a mistake. We almost got into an accident, but it's fine. Nothing happened. So, you know, be careful next time. Kind of like that's sort of the vibe you get from people just bowing their heads and moving forward, right? Yeah. So, and then I realized, oh, so this is the moral of the story, right? We're getting to this. And then I realized, oh, I actually need to change myself if I want to keep working in this company. Not even in this company, but in this country, and also keep working as a teacher in general, because you know it's not about the people. Sometimes it's about the profession, and you know it's a professional. It's like a professional personality to have. A teacher should be someone who is a good leader. Should be someone who wants to help people, and who can be professional as well. Because teaching is not just, you know, people coming into a room and being like, hey, ha ha ha, you know, let's have fun, let's learn something. There's a goal, and you know, we as teachers are tasked with the job responsibilities of, you know, inspiring these kids so that they can go to that goal and reach that goal, and you know, have a little as possible problems along the way. So yeah, that's what I was trying to do, and I was like, okay, you know what, I need to be kinder, I need to be nicer than who I am today. I need to be more positive. I mean, where's the guy who used to make jokes all the time? Because I remember I was teaching before and I just laughed and I was just like, ha 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 ha, you know, it was all fun and games for me. Although back then the only difference was that I didn't know what I was teaching. I didn't really understand what I was teaching because I was just new and I was really bad at it. But now I feel like it's a perfect blend. I can be funny if I want to, and I know what I'm teaching, and I'm good at what I'm teaching, and I'm also I feel like I'm a good teacher. So mix all those things together at 28 years old, I feel like I've definitely reached the pinnacle of teaching in my career so far. Okay, I'm not saying like I'm the best teacher or anything. Okay, just in my career, in my lifetime or whatever, right? I have reached the pinnacle, and obviously in the future there will be many mountains to climb and thresholds to reach. But yeah, I think after I started doing that, my students started responding super positively. I've started a new course with 2 new classes. Yeah, with 2 new classes in, when was this? Yeah, this month, like last week. This is the 8th, and this was the 1st of October. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, haha, you know, like, let's make some jokes. Let's tell them what's important, and let's try to inspire them to move forward with me, right? Not just under me and I'm telling them what to do every single day, but they need to make the contribution as well. So here are the 5 C's of my classroom, just, you know, for you guys. Cooperation, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and contribution. So here are the 5 C's of my classes and of my classroom. And I tell them this, and I say, okay, so these are the rules basically, and this is the personality that you need to have. You need to be willing to cooperate, and you need to willingly communicate with each other, and you need to contribute ideas into the classroom to make it more tailored towards your needs as well. Because you know, I'm trying to keep everyone's needs in mind, but also if you don't tell me what you want, then I'm not gonna know. I can't anticipate it, right? I only need to, I can only guess just based off of my experience. Anyways, yeah, so critical thinking, you know, they need to solve problems, and the biggest problem here is they want to improve their English, right? And the next thing is creativity. I want them to be as creative as possible with their homework, with their involvement in the classroom, with their activeness, proactiveness, and everything. And then, you know, while I deliver that message, I'm cracking a few jokes here and there, and I'm trying to remember and go back to the roots of my teaching career, and just thinking like, oh, you know, I'm here to help people. I'm not here to do a job. I'm actually here to help people. And whether it's Thai people or Chinese or Turkish or Polish or Mongolian, doesn't matter. I'm here to help people. And once I started looking at it from that perspective, once I started looking at my job as, oh, it's a fucking, not like, oh, it's a fucking job, more like, oh, I'm here. Okay, these people paid me for sure, right? I mean, that's no argument there. But I'm here to help people, and these people want my help. These people need my help. I can give them what they need. I have the knowledge and the experience to share with them all these important things that they could use to improve their lives. And once I started looking at it from that perspective, I was like, okay, and the reaction to this change has definitely brought about a lot of great positive results. So far, so good. I have a class in like 3 hours actually. As soon as I finish this, I'm gonna go exercise. But I'm excited. I have a really great lesson plan today, and I'm hoping that my students don't get bored out of their minds because of it. And if they do, then I'm just gonna have to improvise. But at the end of the day, I still need to teach them what they need to learn, and they need to learn what they need to be taught. Yeah. So I would say that it's definitely affected my professional life and and my personal life as well, changing how I see myself and how I see what I'm doing, and this has definitely nourished my soul compared to how it was 2 months ago when I was in Mongolia, just like raging out of my fucking insane mind. So yeah, being kind can definitely nourish your soul, and that's what I'm trying to say. But I guess the intention behind being kind is more important than the action of being kind itself, because you have to change your intent first and then start working on what you can do to make sure that you help people or you're kind to people. Because if you're just looking at personal gain, you're right, and you're just being selfish, and you're like, okay, I'll be kind so that this person buys me a burger tomorrow or something. That's the wrong way to look at it. So that is definitely not nourishing your soul. Just to keep in mind, and I hope you guys know that, and I don't have to explain it. So that's the first question. Thank you very much. Second question. I've got a lot of stuff here. I think this is going to be a long podcast, but we'll see. Number 2 is, can a person's soul become starved if they're not living in alignment with their values? Now, I'm a person of values. I love values, and I think values keep you straight and keep you on the road without like fucking you up. And if you stay true to your values, and if you stay consistent with your values, then you will always come out of the other end as a winner, I'd say, as someone who is victorious, as someone who is the better man or the bigger man, right? I wouldn't say starved. I think starved is probably not the right word here. It feels more like imprisoned if you don't follow your values, or you're not living in alignment with your values. You're kind of imprisoning your soul. And it's your choices and thoughts and the words you say, the things you do, that keeps you in that prison. So your values dictate all the thoughts you have, because you can have any kind of thoughts. Okay, so you can have intrusive thoughts that you sometimes you think, oh, maybe what if I drive this bus off the road and kill all the people on it, or what if I do something and kill a baby? Like these kinds of weird, crazy, intrusive, and there are worse intrusive thoughts. And believe me, everyone's thought it, I'd say, or most people. Okay, if you don't have intrusive thoughts, then you're crazy. You're the one who's crazy. But yeah, your values dictate what thoughts you allow to stay in your brain, I'll say, okay? Because you can't control every single thought that comes to your mind. And your thoughts are not you. You are not your thoughts. That's something that someone said at some point, and I believe it's very true, okay? You are not your thoughts, and whatever thoughts you have, that's not the person you are. It's just a thought that comes to your mind. But you are definitely the thoughts that you let into your mind and stay there and keep there and feed it, right? So those thoughts are definitely you, and you are definitely those thoughts that you let into your mind, keep them there, and then you feed them, and give them shelter and everything. And when you have, so these are your values, right? These are your principles in life that sort of shape who you are. The thoughts that you feed are you. And when you don't live in alignment with those values, and I'd say your values are, they should be of high standard. It's not, you should not have simple, small values. And it's like, it's okay to do this sometimes, right? I don't think there are some things that are not okay to do sometimes. So I just hope that you know the difference between the right and the wrongs and stuff like that. All right, there's always a balance of things, I'd say, and no one is 100% good and no one is 100% bad. But if you can, veer towards being good most of the way, then you're fine, right? So I think you already know this. I don't have to explain this to you, right? So if you're not living with those alignments, or living in alignment with those values, then your soul feels more like it's imprisoned rather than it's starved. I guess you could say that the prison is your mind and its endless cycle of negative thoughts. So basically, your mind, with all these negative, endless cycles of thoughts, will keep the soul there as a captive, and maybe like a hostage situation, and be like, okay, you're going to fucking stay here, and I'm going to use you to manipulate this person, right? Who is Temka, or who is John, or fucking Prewa, or whatever, right? You are this person that I'm going to control because I am the mind, and you're in my prison. And I feel like the best way to get out of a situation like that is to just rewire your brain and build yourself from the ground up again, right? I'm certainly, I'd say that's how I did it. I changed as a person many times over the course of the last few years, and I think everyone does. Everyone goes through changes. I'm not saying I'm special and I became this person and I'm amazing and I'm enlightened now. No, I'm definitely not saying that. But I know who I was before, and I know who I am now, and that's why I'm like confidently saying like, oh yeah, definitely I changed a lot, and I'm responsible for that change. Before, my soul was definitely in pieces, I'll say. And I had these different environments where I kept different parts of my soul. So one part of it was definitely a prison where it was endless cycles of negativity, right? An endless negative loop, I think. Yeah, whatever. So it was in an endless negative loop. But there was some of my soul that was just like in a garden, I'll say. And that garden was just like a place where I focused more on the people around me, more on helping people, more on being kind, and I tried to, focus on that garden more than I was keeping the prison locked up, right? And then the third place I'd say was more like a battlefield where I was fighting against some urges and fighting against different parts of myself, and like it was like good versus bad. So I guess there were like 3 different environments, and it was kind of hard to manage everything because I was young. I think that's like the best thing I can chalk it up to. I was young and I didn't, I knew the difference between right and wrong, but there were urges, and I was young and I wanted to do these things, but I knew it was wrong, and I was like, so many different things. But eventually, because I said to myself, okay, just stay true to your values, right? Just keep reminding yourself of the values that you have. And my values back then, sometimes even now, it was, helping others and doing the right thing, and respecting people, and being honest, right? Living with intent, finding purpose, all these different things. Being responsible, being a responsible person. Was definitely one of it. Being punctual. I love being punctual. So, yeah, so I just try to stay true to all my values and be like, okay, just feed this part of your brain and your soul and your heart, and eventually you will come out of it a better person. I feel like right now, so this is 2024, right? And these thoughts were they started back in 2015, 2016, I'll say. I don't know exactly when, but at some point I was already thinking it, and I was already doing the bad things or the wrong things that I shouldn't be doing. And I think 8 years later, so let's say it was 2016, 8 years later, I've definitely manifested this person that I want, that I have become today. I definitely did not expect to be to be this person. I didn't expect for me to change in this way, because I always saw myself through a different lens. But now I'm so happy that I went through all of these experiences, but I always stayed true to my value, and I definitely thank my parents for that. My parents showed me the light, let's say, right? Showed me the way to be a good person, showed me the way that, oh yeah, you need to be doing all these things because you're privileged and you are the person in this world who can and should help people. So this is what my parents were telling me, and I only realize it now that, oh yeah, that's good. That's what they wanted me to do, and I am doing it. So great. The first few years of my life I spent focusing on myself because I guess I needed to, and because I was able to focus on myself, now I can focus on other people. And honestly, for just a sidetrack on this topic, I think there are periods to when you help yourself, and then there are periods where you help other people. It's hard to do both at the same time, but obviously, as life is a difficult fucking thing, sometimes you'll be forced to do both. But yeah, there are days when you should only just focus on yourself and just try to rejuvenate and regenerate. But there are days where definitely you need to help other people, and it's not even days. It's not limited to hours and minutes. I would say it can be decades, it can be months, it can be years, right? For me, it was definitely years. But I was trying to balance it out as much as I could. In the end, I'm very happy with what has happened. So yeah, don't imprison your soul with bad values. Number 3, is there a relationship between your soul and your emotional well-being? Yes, your soul and your emotional well-being are tied together, because if your soul is fucked, then your emotional well-being will definitely deteriorate to the point where you become depressed and you become, anxious or suicidal and everything. So I think it's definitely 100% related to your soul, because your soul is an image of who you are and how you see yourself. It's a reflection of yourself, right? And your soul will never lie to you, and you can never cheat your soul. It will show you everything, all the bad things, all the good things. And if you see more bad than good when you look in that sort of reflection, and when you look in that mirror, then you'll realize, oh shit, like my life is fucked. I'm not living the way I wanted to live, or the way I wanted, or my parents wanted me to live. I'm just, I'm being a total negative person, and I'm fucking myself up, fucking the people around me. So, and yeah, that sort of has a huge toll on your emotional state. So yeah, I wrote something here that I want to read to you guys. I think this is important, and I thought it was profound. Through pain, you reflect, and through reflection, your soul is shined a light upon. And through that light, you are given a choice to let it out or keep it in this dark hole. Yeah, so every time you face pain, any kind of pain, usually for people it's like breakups and stuff, or major life changes, someone losing someone important in their lives. So through those pains, you definitely reflect on yourself, and you look at your reflection, right? And through that reflection, your soul is shined a light upon, which means someone you're basically you have a flashlight and you're shining it on your soul and saying like, so what is it here? What is this thing here, right? Is it good or bad? What's happening? And through that light, or through that sort of shining moment, you're given a choice to let out your soul or keep it in this dark hole. To let it out and experience all the different beautiful things in life and all the positive things in life, or keep it in the dark hole and keep it restrained and try to, suppress it, or, feed it the negative thoughts that we were just talking about. So yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Next and final question. After that, we'll go into some quotes. This is actually my favorite question here. What does forgiveness play in feeding the soul? I don't know about feeding the soul, but forgiveness is really the first step to solving your personal and internal problems. And I think, as we've been talking about through this entire podcast, your soul is definitely in your internal reflection, right? It's a reflection of your internal self. And it all starts with forgiving yourself. So if you, to some degree, I think, or maybe to some age, you blame other people and you say, oh, this is my parents' fault. Oh, this is my brother's fault. Or this is the environment. Oh, these are all my bullies. They fucked me up. These are my friends. They hurt me this way. And that's why I am who I am, because of these people, because of these environments, and because of these situations, because of these events. This is who I am. Ooh. And then, once you reach a certain age, like I'd say 24, 25, you're like, oh, okay, so these people weren't out to get me, and they weren't out to hurt me. They were just doing what they wanted to do in that moment, and they knew they did what they needed to do, or whatever, right? It's not like they were like, okay, we're gonna fuck this guy really fucking hard up the ass. No one is really out to get you like that. No one in this world, because everyone is focused too focused in their lives, in their own lives. Okay, unless you've done something terrible to them, no one gives a fuck about you. No one is out to get you. Okay, and then you realize, oh, so it's not other people, it's actually me. I'm the one who has been fucking myself. That's super gay, So you're like, oh shit, I was definitely the one who was hurting myself and blaming myself and doing all these things, right? I was the one who did all these things. And then you start blaming yourself, and you're like, oh, I'm a bad person. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? And then you're filled with regret for a certain stage of your life. Obviously this process might continue on over the course of your lifetime, because it's not like a one-off deal. You don't become a better person and then stay that version of yourself for a long period of time. You maximum like 3, 4, 5 years, right? Or maybe 10, I don't know, depends on I guess, I don't know, I'm not old enough to know. And then after that whole process of just you blaming yourself and seeing all the negative sides, you start to forgive yourself, and you see, okay, I was also just trying to do what I could to preserve that thing, or I was trying to do my best to maintain a certain relationship level with this person, or I was just trying to look out for myself, and I did what I could. If I had better options and I knew about those better options, I probably would have done that, but I couldn't see straight because I was young, I was dumb, and you start forgiving yourself for all the stupid things you've done. And that it's a beautiful moment when that happens, because it's sort of a struggle, but it eventually and very slowly you become one with your soul, because before it was kind of hard to accept it because you were blaming it, right? And then after you forgive it, you become one with your soul, and you're just like, okay, I definitely have done a lot of bad things in my life, but this, it's just part of the process of being a human, right? I don't think anyone has ever lived and not done the things I've done. I think people have done worse things than me, and they still live with themselves, right? They still get over it at some point in their lives. Imagine whatever. I'm not even going to dive deep into this, because I'm going to talk about something terrible. So if you know me personally, we can talk about it. um, yeah, so forgiveness plays such a vital and crucial role in your soul. Okay, I don't know anything about feeding your soul because what is it feeding, right? But you know, uh, the betterment of your soul, let's say, right? The just improvement of your soul. Um, if you ask me, or if you talk to me about stuff like this, maybe like 5 years ago, I would have been like, "Shut the fuck up! I don't give a fuck about this thing. What are you talking about? This is bullshit. This is some really pussy ass shit. This is gay." Um, but right now, as I'm talking about this, I'm saying this with full conviction, and I believe it to be true. Okay. I don't know if it's like 100% accurate. That's something that I should discover later on in my life, right? But right now, I believe it to be true. All right. So moving on to the last section of this podcast, we have quotes. I have two quotes here. Not too long, but I think it'll be quite enjoyable. The first one is, "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts," and this is by Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher. He was also a king in Greek or something. He was a king, or oh no, he was a prince, but he liked to live a modest life. He would dress in like really shitty robes and dirty clothes, and he would sleep outside amongst like the crowd, and then he would be recognized by normal people, and he would be like, "Yeah, I'm the prince. I have all this money, but I don't really want to, because that's the Stoic way," and stuff like that. So that was kind of awesome of him to do that. But this quote, I believe, is wonderful. "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts." So what color is your soul, right? What color is your Bugatti? Similar question, but what color is your soul? And what kind of thoughts do you have? If you could give your thoughts any kind of color, what color would your soul be? I personally love the color white, but if I had to look at my soul, I think it would be more like a what's that color? It's like light blue. Is it just light blue? Yeah, I guess so. So I think it would be more like light blue. I don't know. All right, and the last quote is, I like this quote. "The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind." This is by Carolyn Myss, and Carolyn Myss is a author, and she talks about mysticism and wellness. I don't know. That's not something I read often, but yeah, I like this quote. "The soul always knows what to do to heal itself." So, all this, I think the depression and the fucking suicidal thoughts, this was, for me at least, the process of cleansing my soul and saying, fuck, you need to stop doing all these things because this is going to fuck you up. And I definitely did some really bad things up until that point. So I believe my soul definitely did a good job of sending me the right message. The challenge is to silence the mind. I don't know about this part, but if I had to guess, it's something like, your mind is, your logical brain is fucked up, or your mind is always thinking of all these random thoughts, and it's hard to filter out all those things. It's always filled with everything and anything at every given moment. You have like a million, billion, gazillion, quintillion thoughts every single day. So if you can silence the mind and listen to your soul, what your soul needs and what your soul wants, then you can live with peace and contentment. And I think, that's the theme of this podcast. I am definitely striving to be more at peace and more at contentment. So yeah, that is it for today's podcast. It was a beautiful podcast. I loved talking about this. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed myself. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode.